Welcome to the Steve Ames Show with guitarist Sandy Renda, pianist Mike Iannuzzi, and my special guests, theater manager Edith O'Hara and entertainer SPATZ Donovan. Now, on with the show. Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things looking so right. Noticing the day hurrying by, when you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. Oh, blue skies smiling at me, nothing but pretty little blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. I never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things looking so right. Noticing the days hurrying by, when you're in love, my how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone, nothing but blue skies from now on. Thank you. Blue Skies, written by the great Irving Berlin. And tonight we'll be saluting the songs of the great Irving Berlin in honor of Irving Berlin's birthday. He was born May 11th, 1888. And while we're talking about birthdays, well, we've got two other very special birthdays in the month of May. Celebrating a birthday on May 30th, our talented pianist Mike Iannuzzi. And celebrating a birthday May the 12th, our talented guitarist Sandy Renda. Here's one of my favorite Irving Berlin songs, and you have to be in a lazy mood when you sing Lazy. Lazy, I want to be lazy. I want to sit out in the sun with no work to be done under that awning they call the sky, stretching and yawning, and let the world go drifting by. I want to peep through the deep, tangled wildwood, counting sheep till I sleep like a child would, with a great big valise full of books to read, where it's peaceful while I'm killing time being lazy. Peep through the deep, tangled wildwood, counting sheep till I sleep like a child would, with a great big valise full of books to read, where it's peaceful while I'm killing time being lazy. Mike, we're having a lot of fun tonight saluting the great Irving Berlin. And I just want to mention that Irving Berlin wrote hundreds and hundreds of hit songs for motion pictures, for Broadway shows, for vaudeville. But you and Mike are going to do his very, very first big hit, the song that started it all.
Alexander's Ragtime Band. That's a great one.
It certainly is. Let's hear it for Sandy and Mike and Alexander's Ragtime Band. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are at a very special location, on location at the 13th Street Theater in Manhattan with my two very, very special guests. First up, it's a gentleman who's been on this show many, many times. You know him as a great impressionist, comedian, actor, and entertainer extraordinaire. Please welcome Mr. SPATZ Donovan.
Hey, SPATZ. Hello!
And SPATZ, will you do the honors of helping me introduce our special guest of honor?
Oh, this is an amazing gift, amazing treasure. Welcome to the theater, to the magic, to the fun, where painted trees and fortissimo laughter rings fortissimo and treachery is sweetly done. Welcome to the theater, this profession unique, and actors are like children playing hide and ego seek. Welcome to the flop you thought would run for years. Welcome to the years of fears and tears and cheers. And welcome all of you to the icon of New York theater, the legendary and my sweetie pie. Oh, she's an angel. And you know, angels we need in show business. And this is one of the greatest ones of them all. Ladies and gentlemen, Edith O'Hara, the artistic director of the 13th Street Repertory Theater.
Welcome to the show, Edith.
Well, thank you.
It's so nice to have you
Nice to be here.
on
Believe
our
me.
program. And you are a very special lady,
Well,
and you've had a great career, and we're going to talk about your career. Now, we're here at the 13th Street Theater, and you are the founder of this theater.
That's correct. For 35 years.
And how did it all begin right here at this location?
Well, you know, I have a long story I tell everybody, and it goes on forever, so I'll be brief. But I was born in the wilds of Idaho and never heard the word theater until 7th grade. There's no more school in the one-room school. My father had a logging camp, so we were up in the mountains, no electricity, no radio, no anything.
No movies?
Nothing. Never even heard the word. Didn't know what it was all about.
That's unbelievable.
So when it was 7th grade, we had to move in town because there was no more school. And the teacher put me in a play, and I just thought that was heaven from that moment. So I went to the University of Idaho and UCLA, and I thought that I would come back to New York. I had the great good fortune of being here as an apprentice when, in 1940, you know, I am 90 now.
Yes, we want to
Yes.
mention you had your 90th birthday in February.
That's
And
correct.
we'll talk about that later. But now let's get back to
Well,
1940.
and that's why I'm mentioning 1940, but it was the end of the era for the group theater,
Right?
the famous group theater.
Yes.
And they were no longer with Strasbourg, and 3 actors in that company were group theater actors, and it was wonderful. They would hold workshops with us in the manner they worked with Strasbourg, and I became very, very close friends with one of them. Almost married him, but didn't. Went to UCLA and hated it.
What was
Left.
his name?
Art Smith.
And he was an actor.
He was an actor from the beginning. He'd been in the group from the beginning.
And you were an actress.
I was, and I was planning to be real serious about it. And I got to California, and I hated UCLA. I was not accustomed to these humongous classes and impersonal. Felt like a number in a seat. So I thought, I'll come back to New York, and I had a little red convertible I had driven across with my classmates, and so I'm coming back, In the meantime, I met John O'Hara the first day I got there and was dating him, not the John O'Hara, but the one I am married.
And that's how you became Edith O'Hara.
That's, no, that,
Right? I mean,
that's yes, true.
and what was your maiden name?
Maiden name Hopkins.
Hopkins. So as Edith Hopkins, you had been an actress on the stage.
Yes, just the local little place.
But then your fortunes got better when you got married.
Well, then I was busy with raising a family, and I wound up raising 2 girls who made their way to Broadway and a son who became a very good musician.
So did you drop out of the theatrical business to raise your family?
No, I was doing it wherever I was, and we lived in Warren, Pennsylvania, very, very small town. And I was working as a children's librarian, and the children, their speech, I thought they must learn to speak better. It's very important. I'll start a little drama program. And I did that, and I realized I liked it so much. I started my own children's theater, and I didn't care if they were in high school, first grade, anywhere in between. And I taught them classes every week. I didn't charge them. I put on plays, got the PTA to sponsor. And I realized when I was doing that, I liked that better than acting. So from then on, in the meantime, I had run a summer theater, my first one when my oldest child was 13.
So you like coaching and directing?
And helping people find their creativity and develop it. It just was so much more fulfilling.
Now, did you coach your own daughters?
No, I wasn't a stage mother. Nobody had lessons. Nobody was going off to auditions. They had a very good high school teacher, so they did good work. We had a good community theater
And this
there.
was all in Warren, Pennsylvania.
Warren, Pennsylvania.
And we want to mention that your 2 daughters became very successful professional actresses, Jenny O'Hara and Jill O'Hara.
Right.
And so they came to New York when they grew up, right?
They did. Actually, Jenny got a scholarship at Carnegie, which was then Carnegie Tech, now Carnegie Mellon. And Jill and my son, I named him John Jr. I have to explain this because everyone called him Jack, and I wound up with Jack and Jill.
That's very good, Jack and Jill.
And when I wouldn't have never have done that.
It just happened that way.
It happened. And I would bring them to New York at Easter, long vacation, and we'd catch up on all the artistic things that were going on. And it turned out that I had 2 musically gifted children and didn't know it because they weren't taking classes, they weren't doing anything.
So your son Jack is a musician?
Very much so.
John?
John, but the Jack, he's Jack. Never got past the Jack, so when I say my kids Jack and Jill, I feel silly. So.
Right, and I've seen your daughter Jenny on television, most recently on The King of Queens.
Yeah.
She's a marvelous actress.
She's done very well.
We'll talk more about your children. So you came to New York to join them sometime in the 1960s?
Yes, how I got here. First of all, I remained close friends with Art Smith, and he wanted to have a summer theater where, group theater in the country, and I said, well, let me find one. I went up to, looked everywhere. Poconos, I found a theater that was available. I signed a lease and ran my first theater without a thought.
And what was that theater called?
It was called the Bushkill Playhouse. It was at Bushkill.
And this was late 1960s, around that time?
Yes, it would have been. No, it would have been earlier than that. It would have been in the 50s.
50s, but
Late
you stayed there
50s.
for quite a while, right?
No, I just had a summer theater there. I was living in Warren, and my oldest child was then 13, which was Jenny.
Right.
And so how I got here, it was such fun to run a summer theater. I went back and decided, I'll do this here. I got people together, we'll buy a farm. We bought a farm, converted the barn, and had a big house for the actors. One of the actors did the cooking, and indirectly that's how I came to New York, because on dark nights these kids would be doing these wonderful creative things on, making up their own shows, and the kid from Texas who didn't know how to read or write music would sit and pour out of him at the piano. And so I said to them, maybe you could create an original show during the winter and we'll put it on if it turns out. So they worked very hard. I was teaching school then, and I had a big house, and he stayed there. And the kids from town knew how to score music and write it, and they created the most beautiful little musical you could imagine.
What was it called?
It was called Touch. That's what brought me to New York in
What year is that, about
1970.
1970. And then you came to New York as the producer of the show?
Yes. What happened was, we knew it was a very good show, and the director had been the stage manager of Hair, and she knew her way around the Broadway scene. So I didn't know New York scene at all. I didn't know how to produce a show in New York, although I had a children's theater and I had 2 summer theaters. And so we had people coming up there to look at that show, and one man said, I love this show. I have a theater over in East 4th Street. I have grant money. If you want to come bring your actors down, we'll produce it together. So that's what I did, and it was a big hit.
How long did it run?
It ran a year.
That's excellent.
And Ampex made a cast album. We got a Grammy nomination. We had a Japanese production. We got a movie option. It was just couldn't have been better. Press up the kazoo. Everyone got such a kick out of the fact that I'd been raised in a country like I had, and we developed this beautiful show in a barn.
That's something to be proud of.
In a barn.
That's unbelievable, like the old Mickey Rooney, Judy Garland movies, right?
I got to tell you, Steve, with all due respect regarding Edith, the show Touch, when it came to New York, it was amazing. And, the show just hit the right nerve for the genre of the times. It was part of that counterculture movement that had a lot of giving and sharing and love and that kind of hippie-oso kind of eclectic bohemian kind of feel that was light and came from enlightenment, and the music was extraordinarily beautiful. And so Edith took a lot of great pride in knowing that she put like her creative touch, if you don't mind my saying so. It was an extraordinary experience for her.
And what a wonderful thing that your first show in New York was a hit. That's something to be proud of.
I know.
Really? Now tell me, Edith, so that was what, 1970?
1970, and it closed in 71, and then I decided I'll stay in New York. My kids were already on Broadway and ahead with their careers, and find myself a theater. And I looked for a solid year, and nothing that could work out. One day an ad in the Village Voice said, building for lease, contains small theater. And I signed the lease without a thought, moved in, and so we've been here ever since.
So that brings us to this present location here, the 13th Street Theater. And there's a lot of history in this building. SPATZ was telling me this is a very old building.
Oh, yes. It dates back to what, to 1780 or something like that, Edith?
We had a newspaper article saying that these particular brownstones were built in the 1780s.
So aren't they going to make this a National Historical Monument?
We're trying. We were a half block out of the original documented historic spaces, so then it becomes a special thing. Each one has to be, then they have a stack this high, to
I see.
Individual people.
Now tell us what you've been doing here. I know you've been doing a lot of work, but a little bit about what you've been doing here at your own repertory theater for 35 years.
Well, the whole idea, which I found in myself when I had the children's theater, was what a joy it was to help people find their creativity and develop it and have a chance at it, because so many kids don't know it, and they have no way to find out. And I just find that. So we have a big company of people. We do a lot of plays, and we want to nurture creativity. That's our mission.
And you do all original plays and musicals?
Only original, so we can help playwrights.
So you're helping playwrights, young actors?
Directors, tech people, literary people.
How many original productions do you think you've done here in 35 years?
Well, you know, we have that. We've written a history of that, and I don't remember, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, you know.
And you are here every day. You live, I believe, above
Live
the theater?
upstairs, open the door every morning at 10. Usually don't go back upstairs until 10 at night. This is our second living room here.
Absolutely. The first time I was here was last June when SPATZ Donovan did his one-man show called Full Moon Lampoon. And Joe Franklin was in the audience, and we had a lot of great people, and that was a great show. And then the second time I came here was most recently February 15th of this year to help you celebrate your 90th birthday, and we surprised you that night.
You certainly did, and it was so wonderful. That was one of the most wonderful memories in my lifetime, because people came forth that had been here a long time ago, and brand new people, and they all went up and SPATZ emceed it, which was just great. And
SPATZ was the MC, and I got to sing a couple of songs, and your granddaughter performed?
I know. It was absolutely joyous. It was just wonderful.
That was great. So where do you find the vitality at the ripe young age of 90 to be working full-time in a repertory theater?
I don't know. I guess when you like what you're doing, it's not a problem. I love what I'm doing.
If I may say something with all due respect. Edith O'Hara, I mean, I've been living here often. I wake up in the morning, and the first thing we do is sing and dance. She was just, she's extraordinary. She does the work of 4, 5 people, and every nook and cranny, she knows where every little thing is, and she covers every aspect of the theater world. I mean, from lighting to sound to choreography to directing to, you know, coaching and acting, but most of all giving from the heart and nurturing through her beauty inside her heart of kindness and love. She cares about everybody and everything, and that's the kind of human being she is. Absolutely amazing, and I'm very proud to be her friend.
And I'm proud to be her friend, too. And it's true what SPATZ says. You love people,
I'm
you love
just
actors.
Me. I'm just me.
But you love what you're doing.
I am. I do.
Edith, you love what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Edith, you received some very good news on the phone about an hour ago.
That's correct. While we're waiting for this, and the Greenwich Village Society called to ask if we would be interested in the fact that we were being considered for the honor of the year for the best thing in Greenwich Village.
The best theater in Greenwich Village?
Well, no, I just think for an award for our Greenwich Village institution.
Institution, right.
And would I be available, should we get it, to accept it on June 19th.
So you're nominated for the award.
Nominated.
Sort of like being nominated for an Academy Award.
It's like that, yeah.
So you're going to be there on June 19th, and I wish you luck that you win.
Well, thank you. Wouldn't that be wonderful?
I think so,
You know, Backstage named us #1 theater.
Backstage
Yes,
newspaper.
I have it up there on the
Oh, that's wonderful.
#1 theater.
When
We've
was
had
that?
a lot
When
of
was that
honor.
honor?
That was a few months ago.
So this is the big year for Edith O'Hara in the 13th Street.
Except we're fighting life and death to keep the theater.
Yes, tell us about that.
Well, you know, as I say, I rented it, leased it, and then the people who owned it wanted to sell it. So we had fundraisers and had enough money to buy in with another investor who wanted to do what they want to do now, try to convince me to sell it so they could do a high-rise with the property
we wouldn't want to
next
see
door.
that.
And I wouldn't do it. So that went along. And then about 3 years ago, he came back, the other investor, and said, I have someone who will buy the building and give you a lot of money and you can stay here free and all this. And I still wouldn't do it, of course. And so now the threat is, if you don't sell me your stock, we'll evict your theater. And so I'm fighting the battle.
So we hope that you win the battle.
I have to win.
Absolutely.
Not for the sake of winning, but this is...
To keep this theater
They
going.
don't understand about money. They've raised it up to $2 million. But this is my life. I'm not giving it up for money. And so,
That's right.
you know.
This is very important.
In other words, she's turned down $2 million.
I want it to be a legacy because what we do is very unique. There's not a theater with the same purpose and helping so many people.
Absolutely.
And we've had a lot of people go on to fame and fortune.
And there is a website for the 13th Street Theater. Can you tell us what that is, Spat?
Well, it's www.13thstreetrep.org.
Say that one more time.
It's www.13thstreetrep.org.
Thank you, SPATZ Donovan, my good friend. And thank you so much, Edith O'Hara. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, with this next song, I get to salute Irving Berlin and Kate Smith at the same time, because this is Kate Smith's centennial year. The great entertainer, known as the Songbird of the South, was born exactly 100 years ago, May the 1st, 1907. And what a tremendous career Kate Smith had in vaudeville, on Broadway, recordings, radio, and television. But she gained her greatest popularity on the radio during the 1930s and 1940s, when her radio show, The Kate Smith Show, was one of the biggest shows on the air. And in 1938, Kate Smith had the great privilege to be the first one to introduce this Irving Berlin song. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home.